these niggas is not like me. I've been playing bait since niggas thought they was bootleg Nikes. So put my name in a lot of bullshit, try to spite me. Guess she upset cause she no longer the wifey.
What up guys, Ali here and welcome to Ali Talks Music. Add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music as well. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now let's get into the video. Around the mid-2000s, Curren signed with YMCMB, forming a partnership with Cash Money Records and Lil Wayne's Young Money Entertainment label. He was fortunate enough to appear on Young Money's first ever compilation album, Young Money The Mixtape Volume 1. Now if you've listened to Young Money The Mixtape Volume 1, you'll notice that Wayne carries the majority of the project. He's on most of the tracks, and when he's on a beat with his fellow Young Money members, he overshadowed them because Wayne was just a force to be reckoned with back then. But we'll talk about this a bit later. Through YMCMB, Curren was able to drop about one mixtape, a mixtape called Life at 30,000 Feet around 2007.
Sped up, fly society, young money, yeah. Figure this time that I step back from the game.
Now while he was in YMCMB, Curren kept doing features. He appeared on Wayne's The Dedication 2 and The Carter 2 amongst others.
Well, they know me as the Currency, but some call me the high spreader.
However, even though Curren was killing it as far as features go, he eventually wanted to drop his own project. Now Curren dropped his debut album around 2009, but he did so without YMCMB. So the question is, what happened to Curren during his time with Birdman and Wayne? Let's find out.
I don't really hit the club, but tonight I'm making an exception. For some reason I can't seem to keep my eyes on your direction.
Now Curren is a name known in most hip-hop circles. He was signed to Master P's No Limit around the early 2000s, but left the label around 2004. And before that, he was signed to C Murder's record label, True Records. Now Curren's situation with Master P did not go as planned. P was trying to do P. I was actually trying to be a rapper. Now after leaving No Limit, Curren decided to ditch college and focus on skateboarding in the hopes of getting sponsored by the popular skate shoe brand DC. Now before Curren could put all his attention on skateboarding, his situation with Young Money happened. After leaving No Limit, Curren had a choice to make. Should I join another label or do my own thing? Fortunately, fate was at hand when Curren randomly bumped into Lil Wayne at a gas station in New Orleans. The pair had an intimate conversation about Curren's future, in which Wayne offered Curren a spot on his newly formed label. Now even though No Limit Records and Cash Money were constantly at odds, Curren signed with Birdman and Wayne, becoming one of the first artists to sign with Young Money Records.
So when I had left No Limit to do my own thing, I was gonna try and start my own shit, and then I seen Wayne at the gas station. He asked me what I was doing because he was like, I heard you quit fucking with them. Now I was like, I'm about to do my own shit. And he was like, nah, just let's do this right quick. So that's how that happened. So I just started rolling with him,
I just chilled out. So I really was like just not gonna rock with the rest. I really was just gonna chill out and get it in construction. I was just gonna get me a little construction job like my mom. And what happened was Wayne called me and said, well, we had spoke before about doing a song on my album. Yeah. So he called me back. He still had the number. He hit me up and said, well, why don't we just not do that? And you just really just fuck with me on this music shit and we make a couple moves and see what we could do with it. So I flew to Miami and we did like 6 songs that night and then came back home. That baby head B was like, man, get him. So after that, after the smoke cleared, I had 5 cars and had just moved away out my mama's house. And that's it. Cash Money, Young Money.
Now around 2006, Curren was supposed to release his debut album. My album's called Music to Fly To. Because I fly so much, I figured I'd make an album that you could listen to for an entire flight, from the minute you take off to the minute you land. And things only went up from there. Now one major reason why Curren left Young Money was because his album kept getting pushed back. The album was supposed to come out around 2006. The first single called Where the Cash At featured Lil Wayne and Remy Ma and received a lot of attention on the radio. Now Where the Cash At was a very significant song for Curren. It was one of the first times Curren got pushed into the spotlight by his team. It was his time to shine, a significant change from being a feature artist. Now this song came out around 2006, before Drake, Nicki, and Tyga. If the single had blown up, it would have put Curren$y at the forefront of the label because back then the label didn't have many artists. But this song came and went. The thing is, back then, Wayne was in a league of his own. He was dropping so much music and becoming so impactful that if he stayed on the label, his career was going to get pushed to the sidelines. At least that's what he believed. Now when Curren$y left Young Money, a lot of people were in shock. Why leave the label when its flagship artist is becoming the biggest thing in the game? Surely all the attention that he's getting is gonna transfer onto you somehow. We saw it happen at Rockefeller when Jay put the spotlight on Beans, Eminem and Obi Trice, 50 Cent and G-Unit. It seems like Curren$y didn't want to be an artist that's benefiting off another artist. He wanted to build his own lane and dictate his career path on his own. Now the thing is, if Curren$y stayed on Young Money, there was a chance that he was going to achieve a lot of success on the label. He might have dropped a project. Unlike a lot of artists on Young Money, Curren$y was known for his lyrical skill. So if he dropped an album with the label, it would probably fit in the decent to really good range. But chances are that album would not come out because we all saw what happened to Mac Main, Little Twist, Little Chucky, Gutta Gutta, Jay Mills, Euro, Chanel West Coast, Corey Guns, and the list goes on. And after Curren$y left the label, Young Money really blew up. So I'm pretty sure Curren$y had those days where he thought to himself, man, did I make the right decision? But Curren$y believed in himself and decided to focus more on the underground hip-hop scene. It is here where his career flourished. Being without the label, Curren$y had no choice but to take a gamble on himself, and this time, it paid off. Curren$y adopted the Lil Wayne 50 Cent formula and went on to release a lot of songs. Curren$y believed that if he flooded the market and released project after project, he'd eventually be able to recoup all his earnings on tour. A strategy that we've seen so many artists use before because it's so effective. Curren$y realized that the days of needing the radio were gone and that he needed to give his music directly to the consumer without going through any third parties. Now after repping Young Money for several years and proving time and time again that he was a force to be reckoned with on the mic, Curren$y eventually decided to leave Young Money. Curren$y went on Twitter and said the following: "Sorry y'all, I tried. Honest." At the time, Curren$y didn't really give a reason for his departure, but went on to say that he had nothing against anybody on Young Money. "I officially declare my independence on the 16th day of December 2007. I am not Young Money. Regardless of what you may hear in the streets, read on the web, or hear on the radio, I am not Young Money. If that loses me friends and fans, that's just something I will live with. But I will get my just due in this rap game before it's all said and done. Don't look for any beef records from me cause that ain't my thing. Just look for me at the top. Straight up, fly one out." One problem Curren$y faced with the label was not being able to drop music whenever he wanted to. I'm trying to get some music out, and the way things were going, it didn't seem like that was going to happen anymore. I got some shit I'm trying to do, man. I realized where I'm at with my talent and the type of music I want to do and the impact I could have on my city. And for that to happen, I have to get my music out there. Now after Curren$y left Young Money, he went on to release a lot of albums. He went on to drop his first studio album around 2009 called This Ain't No Mixtape. Ever since then, the man went on to drop project after project, and with each release, Curren$y's fan base began to grow. Curren$y's career sort of reminds me of The Game's. After leaving the unit, The Game went on to release a lot of albums. His career did have longevity, but seeing as Lloyd Banks only got to release about 2 or 3 studio albums, Young Buck released about 2, Tony Yayo 1. If The Game remained on the label, there's a chance that he would have released less albums simply because he wasn't in charge of the ship. 50 was. Or was it Eminem? Or Dr. Dre? Similarly, Curren$y knew that if he stayed on the label, he wasn't going to release as much music as he wanted to. And considering most artists on Young Money didn't get to release an album, Curren$y might have been right. Now after Curren$y left Young Money Cash Money, he went on to rap about Mary Jane on a higher level. Now it seems like Curren$y had an issue with the term weed rappers. The thing is, there are some people who believe that all Curren$y did was rap about weed. He fell into that Wiz Khalifa lane, In fact, the pair have collaborated on several projects, proving the age-old English proverb, birds of a feather flock together. I think the term weed rapper is whack. I think it was created by rappers who are trying to use weed as a subject matter that will get them put on in the game. Now, despite not being a weed rapper, Curren$y has his own weed strain, one named Andretti OG. It's funny how that works. Huh. In conclusion,
I smoked weed because I liked weed. Once I kind of hit my stride, and people were like, oh yeah, Spitter's a weed rapper, because I used to be like, I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Curren$y joined Young Money in a time when the label was new. He didn't necessarily know where the label would take him, but probably assumed that he was going to drop an album eventually. And after noticing that Young Money was all about Lil Wayne, and that he wouldn't get the push he deserved on Young Money, Curren$y decided to book. He took his career into his hands. And let's just say he did very well for himself. By being his own man, he created a cult following, one that remained loyal to him throughout the years. Curren$y formed his own crew called Jet Life, and also became CEO of his own imprint, Jet Life Recordings. Jet Life Recordings went on to release multiple studio albums, so let's just say Curren$y did well as CEO of Jet Life Recordings. In the end, Curren$y didn't want to be the guy running behind Lil Wayne. He wanted to carve his own path, and he did just that. He gets about 3 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and his most popular songs on the platform are The Count, All Work, Scottie Pippen's, Airborne Aquarium, and This Is That.
Your fans, they was wondering like, you know, what's up with you and Young Money and stuff like that, like,
Yeah.
you know, do you want to address for your fans one last time, you know what I'm saying, like?
Well, I mean, I don't know really what to say, man. It's unfortunate, you know, for people that kind of wanted that to happen. You know, I feel bad for them, you know, but I'm real happy about my situation right now, and I had to go through all that shit to get to this. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm way good. It's super good.
That's it for me. It's your boy Ali. What happened to Curren$y in your opinion? Let me know down below. Also add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music. Till next time, peace.